It's a place Windsor has been before, the city's top in the country in unemployment. Latest figures out put jobless rate at 9.1%. The national rate is 6.4. It doesn't paint a promising picture for those looking for work. So what's behind the numbers? For more on this, we're joined by Teshlyn Teskey. She's with Workforce Windsor Essex, and she's in our studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Welcome to Windsor Morning. You've been monitoring Windsor's unemployment rate for a long time now. So can you start by describing this current rate of 9.1%?
Yeah, so like you said, it's definitely higher than where we like to be, but we're always unfortunately kind of the top for the country. So being at 9.1% is definitely a bummer, but we have seen a lot of increases in folks joining our labor force. So that kind of unbalance a little bit is going to raise that unemployment rate for a little bit.
What can you expand on what exactly is pushing up unemployment?
Yeah, so almost on a monthly rate, we have over 1,000 people joining our community. So whether that's folks coming from other countries or from other regions, driving up that population and joining the labor market and searching for jobs is going to kind of add to that unemployment rate for a while.
But wouldn't these also be reasons for other municipalities to have an unemployment rate as well?
So it kind of depends on what their job vacancies look like and what their participation rate looks like. So we have a pretty steady participation rate. It's actually been growing, which is great. So we're at about 64%. So the more people that are choosing to participate will help our unemployment rate, but also hurt it temporarily sometimes.
And when you look at those numbers, is there a reason for optimism? I'm wondering, we're hearing about a huge number coming into our city. There's a big job vacancy rate. Fast forward for us. Is it going to get better soon?
Yeah, so typically in the summer months, we see a little bit of a boost in unemployment because we have students that are graduating or looking for summer work. We have those that were in education now looking for summer jobs, maybe parents that have more flexibility. So there's always a little bit of a boost in the summer when people start to look for work. But right now we have about 1,400 people looking for work. But we saw over 6,000 jobs posted in June alone. So there's opportunities out there for anyone that's really ready and able to work.
Is there then a mismatch between skills and vacancies?
We're definitely seeing a mismatch in some areas. Some of it has to do with expectations. So it's really important that when job seekers are looking for work, they really understand what's in demand in our region and how they can either use their current skills, maybe go into the same sector, or if they're making a shift, they really understand what those transferable skills are so they can sell themselves to employers.
Now, obviously, we have the EV battery plant. It's going to employ a lot of people. When will we start to see benefits of that?
So there's already been some hiring benefits. They did a good chunk of their engineering hiring, I believe, in the last couple months. So right now they're all doing training, whether locally or internationally as well. But we're definitely going to see more roles around production once that opening date gets closer in 2025.
What about job seekers? Where are people having a tough time finding work?
So again, it's if they don't have the skills that match our current industries, that's where they're going to struggle a little bit. But there's a lot of resources and supports out there, including the Windsor Regional Employment Network. So any Employment Ontario office that operates in our region can really support job seekers with hands-on support. They can provide financial incentives if they need kind of work boots or tools or anything like that, and really get them prepped for whether it's their first job search or they're looking to change careers.
Where does youth come into this conversation, or maybe people who are just starting out fresh in their career?
Yeah, so youth is a really popular group in the summer. So we definitely always see their unemployment rate, unfortunately, as about twice as high as the general population, but their participation rate matches that. So there's the same amount of interest, they just struggle a little bit more. Some of it has to do with that they can only work in part-time jobs if they're still going to school. They don't really have the skills or education to do a lot of full-time positions, and sometimes that makes employers a little nervous, even for summer work. So that's where that added struggle can be. And again, for folks that have never had maybe local job experience, Canadian work experience, if this is their first time, there's a little bit of that hurdle making connections with employers. But that's where employment supports and volunteering can really help get some folks some experience.
What advice do you have for young people looking for work?
I would definitely say lean on experiential learning while you're still in school, getting opportunities like co-ops or internships, get you connected to employers and kind of in a low pressure environment. Same with volunteering, but also lean on your friends, lean on your family. If you know of someone that works in a job that you're interested in, ask them if they're hiring, ask them if they can be a reference for you.
Where do you want to see the unemployment rate at?
We typically like to be close to the either national or provincial average, so closer to 6 to 7%. Anything lower puts a lot of pressure on employers to find the right talent, but kind of in that range is typically the goal. But like I said, we're not super panicked right now, and I have faith that we can get there.
What can employers do to tap into the people seeking jobs that might be a mismatch?
Yeah, so it's kind of similar advice to job seekers is have realistic expectations. So when you're posting a job posting, it should be kind of what are you requiring for that role? What are those actual assets that you need, not necessarily a wish list, because that sometimes deters people, but also kind of confuses them if they start the job and thought it was something different. So being sure that they're asking for what they actually need and that their hiring process is effective. It's really tricky when job seekers are stuck in a pattern of they've applied, now they have to wait a couple weeks to hear. And then if they interview, then they're waiting another couple weeks. So being effective, but also letting people know if they didn't get the job, they didn't get an interview, make sure you tell them so they're not waiting around as well.
What jobs are in demand right now in Windsor, Essex? Have they changed much over the years?
They're typically pretty consistent. So we have a strong need always for manufacturing. Healthcare is growing as well. And summer months, we always see a peak in tourism and hospitality and construction as well.
All right, Tashan, thank you so much.